Okay, so what about recording on the computer? How do we do that? Yeah. Okay, so what about recording on the computer? What is the I can't find the thing to record on the computer. Can't find it. What is it?
Well, on the Zoom screen, there's a place that says more with three dots. And when I press that, I can see record.
Thank you so much. So first of all, let's pay obeisances to our spiritual masters and everybody, because this is how things has to be done. Ah, Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Swayantuna Vitripyama Uttama Shloka Vikrame Yachrimvatam Rasagyanam Svado Pade Pade. Welcome everybody. So this is an appointment for answering questions. I received quite a few questions. Some of them are to be repeated because we couldn't, we couldn't publish them at that time. There was some problem, you know. We're doing it again, but we have a number of very nice questions by everybody. So, Yamuna, how do we should proceed?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, you mentioned a theme of Shraddha. Maybe you want to begin with that and then go through a list of questions, or I don't know, choose the oldest question, whichever suits you best.
I will tell you what's the questions. They're already here. I hope that during this hour or so, more questions will come. But this is what we have right now. So first of all, we have Martin Ebi, who sent me 3 questions. Then we have a question by Mataji Lavanga, something about Brahma, that we are going to answer today. Then we have a series of questions. That is the question that we didn't record at that time, and you wanted me to repeat, and I will do it with pleasure. Then we have Shraddha, a meaning of the word Shraddha applied to our philosophy. And I think that's it, So So I don't know how you want it. Okay, I will start how I said in the same order, beginning with Batin Ebi. Okay, so what's happening here? Oh, today I have a lot of problem. Okay, so I read recently that actually, can you read the question?
Are you, Hare Krishna, are you asking me to read the question?
Yeah.
Oh. Let me pull it up one moment. Sorry. For the first question, I read that recently when Mother Sita and Lord Ramachandra were separated from one another, that in his distress, Lord Ram's transcendental bliss was actually increasing. I can't remember where I read that, so I was wondering if you could please expand on that a little. And also, I was wondering if Prabhupada's bliss was increasing in the same way during the hardships he endured in America for Krishna.
Okay. Okay. About the Christianity,
Oh,
we'll, first you'll read in a few minutes when I will be finished with your question. So not actually, I've been a few years trying to explain this concept, which is not easy because when we see someone laughing and it is rich, it is healthy, that everything is good, he's happy. And when somebody doesn't get what he wants, and he actually crying or protesting against that is suffering. The spiritual world is different. In spiritual world, there is no happiness and the opposite. There are no opposites. There are varieties. That is called ananda. Ananda means happiness. But what type of happiness does not correspond to our happiness. Because our happiness is when we don't suffer. In the spiritual world, happiness is made of a lot of different types of emotions. So there are positive emotions and negative emotion, but actually everything is positive because there is not the contrary. There is no happiness and distress in the spiritual world. So there are different types of rasa. This is the word that we use to explain the difference, the varieties of something in the spiritual world. The spiritual world, there are a very great number of different varieties of emotions, of internal experiences. So when Lord Ramachandra was separated from his wife, Mother Sita, he was not really suffering, and he was experiencing a different type of happiness, a different type of emotion. Because if something will be missing in the spiritual world, then the experience will not be complete, you know. So in the spiritual world, we experience different types of experiences, and they are all positive. The science of rasa, I understand that it's not easy to get, but this is how it works in the spiritual world, or here also in this world, when the when avatars or pure devotees come in this world, they are not actually in the spiritual world. In the material world, they are in the spiritual world. Okay? So let's try to make an example, because this is not easy, you know. I want to give you a gift, okay? But and I will give you some sweet. And then I want to also to give other types of gifts, and this has to be different, because if there is no different, it's always the same. There is no pleasure. I already received this gift, another gift. So in the spiritual world, there is something and its opposite, but everything remains absolute. So equally, equally the pleasurable. And about the Srila Prabhupada, when he came here, he had a lot of problems coming in the West. Okay, but he was always very happy. Why? Even if from the outside, you will see that he was not really in ecstasy, but actually was. Why? Because his experience is that that he was under the shelter of Krishna. So he was with Krishna. That's why he was always happy. He didn't worry because not many people came in the beginning. His first disciples had beard, the long hairs. I didn't follow any rule. Okay, but his happiness was due to being with Krishna. And when you put yourself in such a situation, you must take shelter of Krishna. Because otherwise you are under Maya, and Maya is not merciful. You suffer under Maya. So better we take shelter of Krishna, and whether you're going to be successful or not, you're always happy because you are with Krishna. Is that in any way clear? Because I understand that somebody can have some problem understanding rasa. But it's not clear, just tell me it's not a problem. I will start again trying to use other words.
No, it was very nice. It was clear. Thank you.
It's clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let me just in 1 minute just use some. There is the material world. Material world, there is happiness and distress. Spiritual world, there is no distress. There are only different types of happiness that we from the material world may identify as negative because the gopis were crying because Krishna left, or these kind of things. But actually, this is absolute. It's the same. It's just different. Okay? All right. So what about Christianity?
Okay, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I heard this question on last Tuesday. It was brought up here. And then my friend asked me, and I guess I would just like to hear your explanation of it. So the question is, Christianity talks about the devil. Does ISKCON have an analogous concept?
So first of all, ISKCON doesn't have any philosophy. We have Vedic philosophy, we have a Vaishnava philosophy, it's not that ISKCON has its own philosophy. And although I am born in, supposedly, the most Catholic city, I was born in Rome, I wasn't really much interested. So much so that I thought I was an atheist, because I didn't accept that I couldn't believe. I just couldn't accept any of the points. Then in time I understood I was not an atheist. It's just that philosophy wasn't sound. So But if I remember correctly, there was some angel or archangel or something, I don't remember what's his name, that became inimical with God and went somewhere else and made his own kingdom, something like that, you know. So that is not possible. That it is not possible. It's not possible because there is no other place. Everything belongs to God. Where do you go? Everything belongs to Him. So the devil is in our heart. There is not a Satan, a personality, but it's just our consciousness that become inimical to God. And so we don't, and there are some people who will become very inimical. So they are very demoniac and doing terrible things. But we don't have two kingdoms with two gods, one good guy and the other the bad guy. We don't have that. There is only one God. Okay, I think about Abby we finished. And so the second was about Mataji Lavanga sent me one nice question, Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma's position separated from the person Brahma, because there are no just one Brahma. Brahma lives a number, very high number of years, and after there is another creation and another Brahma. So the position of Lord Brahma is not of a liberated soul, because it's the first of the living entities of the universe. And the living entities in the universe, they are not liberated soul. They are prisoners of Maya. Okay? So about this Brahma, that is the number one of our Sampradaya, we read in the scriptures several things that happened to this Brahma, just like when Brahma became very attracted to his daughter, so much so that the Devas and Shiva went to him and chastised him actually, and Shiva cut off his fifth, because Brahma originally had 5 heads. So Lord Shiva cut off the 5th head, which is lust. So at that point, Brahma becoming attracted to something, his daughter, his own daughter. So all the devas were protested very high that we should not do this. Okay, and then we had also when Lord Brahma, different episodes where Brahma supposedly proved that he was not a pure devotee. However, in the scriptures, there is something that Srila Prabhupada explained, that it was at the beginning a conditioned soul, but that was because we needed an example. So if you want to preach about being, what is the contrary of being unattracted or repulsed by sexual desire, then we can use Brahma, saying even Brahma had these attractions, but then by Krishna's mercy, it changed and it became a pure devotee. So the question is, was Brahma actually attracted to his daughter? Someone says that he was Saraswati, someone says he was not, it was some other daughter. So was Brahma actually attracted to his daughter? So the answer, Srila Prabhupada says, no, he took upon himself this service of appearing as a conditioned soul so that he can teach us. So how much we can teach is if the teacher is already perfect, so we don't have examples to follow. So Brahma took upon himself this, and so now we have this pressure to identify ourselves. We are the same, quote unquote. So to become purified, you did this, I can do the same thing. Okay. For instance, when Brahma became attracted to his own daughter, Lord Shiva came and he chastised him. So if you do something wrong, the devotees in our movement will come and chastise us. We had to feel like very blessed if you are corrected, because one thing is correct yourself. It's not so powerful. But if someone come and yell at you, you are a nonsense, you are this, more powerful. That's why we have sadhu sangha, where you are with devotees. Sometimes being with other devotees is not easy because our ego is constantly battled by the other devotees. So we try to go somewhere else, not to have anyone to criticize. This is a bad choice. This is a bad choice. The best way to advance spiritually is sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha. Ga means to go. Sam, together. Sadhu, go where are the devotees. Whether the devotees are very nice with us or if they are not so nice with us, still we should not become estranged. The very devotees is a very bad choice. Okay, so Brahma didn't say, "Oh, I am more important than you. I did this and did that, and you don't." He didn't do that. He accepted the devas, his own sons, to reproach him. And we should do the same. That's why Brahma is Acharya. Is the first Acharya. Acharya, what does it mean, Acharya? Someone who teaches with an example, not only by words, but by example. Achar, two words. Char, to go. Char, in India, if you go to India, you hear say chalo, chalo, chalo. Char, go. That's so we should go and to the Acharya and take teachings both in words and with example. All right, so Bhaktivinoda May, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, please receive my humble obeisances, my Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Because I made some questions in the chat, and you answered some of them, but there was one that had to do with what you're talking about, Brahma, which I asked, but I realized a little bit later something about my own question. So the question was, for example, there are Satyavesha avatars like Jesus, right? And Jesus, I think I read somewhere that he's like a Satyavesha.
I didn't answer to a question, but it is in my list.
Okay,
answer.
sorry.
But I can, but if I answer just a little part, so let me answer all of that. Because it wasn't a simple questions. It needed some time to elaborate. Okay, I will do it. I've been very, very busy in these days, so I think it's It's
No,
think
yes, take your time, Guru Maharaj. It's just that I thought that since this question by Lavanga is similar or has something to do with what I asked, although I did realize that if Brahma would
well,
have been a
very briefly, a Shakti-Vaishyavatar, the difference between a liberated souls and a Shakti-Vaishyavatar. The Shakti-Vaishyavatar is generally is a liberated soul, and the difference is that he had a job to do. And he receives a particular power from the Lord, Shakti. This is Avish, no? The dress, okay? Give you, Krishna gives you a dress, give you power, okay? And Shakti means the, the, uh, the capacity to do the job. So Shakti Avish, Avatar. Normally, when we say Avatar, it can be that someone becomes qualified for a particular service, not necessarily coming from the spiritual world. It can be any of us who become so advanced in spiritual life, and Krishna gives you power. So in this case, just a Shaktavesh is not an avatar. Avatar means someone who crosses the boundary between the spiritual world and the material world. It comes from the spiritual ready. It doesn't need a teacher. It doesn't need anything. It's just ready to do it. While the Shakyavesh is just someone who becomes very powerful. So you mentioned Jesus Christ. We Srila Prabhupada said that, so we don't question what Srila Prabhupada says. We don't try to explain from some other perspective what it could mean. But he said that we should not follow him. He said it very clearly. We should not read the Bible, though Jesus Christ had nothing to do with the Bible. It was written by somebody else, etc. But Srila Prabhupada said that we should not follow him and we should not take teachings because a teacher, he teaches something. He doesn't teach to everybody. He teaches to his class, and in a specific time. Just like if you go to 50 years ago, the teacher will teach in a different way, but now it's different. So you need a new teacher. That's why exists the parampara. Why exists the parampara? Why we could just take the Srila Prabhupada books and read them. So why we need the gurus? We need the guru because the guru tell you what Srila Prabhupada books means. Without the spiritual master, you cannot understand. Yasha prasada, bhagavad prasada, yasha prasada, nagati kuto. It doesn't mean that, yes, you had to order guru, but only Prabhupada. It's not written anywhere. The guru means representative, physically present. You should take initiation from some living guru, because if he's living, he can correct you. If he's not living, you read the books, you think you understand, and maybe you're not understanding. But the guru is the one that is, no, this is the right understanding. So is this your question, or because of the Shakyavesh?
Yes, it has to do, but also there was one, like, for example, those were questions within questions, I guess. If we ourselves as human beings, since we're contaminated also, and we have to purify ourselves on the spiritual path and attain self-realization or God realization, would our limit be 78% like Brahma? Would self-realization or God realization would be to attain the the topmost percentage are jivas can attain, which would be like Brahma.
No, not all the jiva can be like Brahma, Shiva, or others. You know, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which was inside the station to Sanatana Goswami, was speaking about the avatar. The avatar gets this. Otherwise, if you are very advanced, you can be Balaram. The only thing is it's too bad you cannot play the flute. Otherwise, you are like Brahm. We can never be like. So about a normal jiva, like all of us, we get very advanced, and depending from your svarupa, then you have different qualities. Because if you have one svarupa who is not friendly with Krishna, so then all the quality Krishna has of being friendly with his devotee, you cannot get it because your svarupa is another one. So you get the qualities according to your svarupa. And in this, just to finish, in general, we should do all kinds of questions. I'm not saying that you should not. But at the same time, if we go too much ahead, we might become confused. And for the good of our spiritual life, we should try to think, especially the devotees like you, who are very philosophical, you think a lot, but then sometimes it's not necessary to do it now. Just wait. And sometimes you may even get an answer by yourself, and then of course, you should always make questions, especially to the spiritual master. But sometimes it becomes a little, I say, embarrassing, maybe. I don't know if the right word to have it to explain something that the devotee is not ready to hear. So you try to explain the thing, but you realize while you're speaking that they cannot understand. So it's a sort of psychological uneasiness that you feel. I've been feeling I've been preaching the whole of my life, much more than half of my life. So I always had this experience of while I'm talking, thinking, should I say this or not? Maybe sometimes we should wait because it is hearing, it's a quality that you should have. And the more you are advanced, the more you understand. I remember to be reading Bhagavad Gita when I was 18 years old. I read it more than 30 times in my life, 32 times. And every time it was like, is this the Bhagavad Gita? I was looking because I was understanding things that I never understood before. The Bhagavad Gita was the same. They didn't change my Bhagavad Gita with another Bhagavad Gita. It's just my perception, my understanding is changed because I advanced a little more. I don't want to in any way discourage anyone to put me to send me any question you want. There is no problem, but just to make you understand, if you will do again this question in 1 year, I will give you another explanation. Will not be the same because you changed, you advanced. Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Guru Maharaj. I understood. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. So, okay, this is done. now, Yamuna, it's a series of questions that you put me and I already answered, and with much pleasure, I'm going to answer again. And first question, relative import of, can you read it? You want to read it? But one paragraph at a time, not all of it.
All right. Give me a second to pull it up. It's right here. Okay, please discuss the relative importance of devotional service and attention to one's own personal needs. What is the proper balance?
I had no recollection whatsoever what I said the last time, but the proper balance, it depends from the person who needs to understand the proper balance. Your balance and my balance are two different, completely different. If you ask me to answer what I would do, and then I will tell you something that maybe you cannot do, maybe you don't want to do, maybe you will do it in 20 years or 10 years, you see? So the proper balance, it depends from your spiritual advancement, from your interest in spiritual, how much it is, how much are you ready to give up for Krishna consciousness, and from también also to your situations. Maybe there are needs that are very strong, so it's different from a need that is not very strong. You cannot waste your time trying to do something. It's better that you take more time that you need for Krishna consciousness. You're going to repent it one day to have wasted so much time for things that weren't really important. It's said. So to answer, I should enter into your heart, and then I will tell you what's the balance.
Well, Gurudev, if we continue with the second question, second related question, is a Brahmana expected to upkeep a strict schedule of service to the deities regardless of their own physical condition?
Yes, the same. Depends. A very advanced devotee will die before missing his service to the deities. But are you ready to do that? Maybe yes, maybe not. When I say you, does not mean Yamuna Devi does. It's just an example to say anyone. So I saw personally wonderful devotees doing, especially in Vrindavan, when in summertime it's terrible. It's the heat is so high that you really cannot walk around, and so the still doing their services, Maybe somebody else will say, no, I cannot do it. Temple president, please, find somebody else more stronger than me, more austere than me. I cannot do it. And the other devotee do it without any problem. Why? Because or is a question of spiritual advancement or interest in Krishna consciousness make you do something that somebody else cannot do it or vice versa. That you do very easily. I remember one time there was one god brother of mine. He had a problem. He had to go to the bathroom. And he actually lost some time, but it didn't go away. It just continued because I cannot interrupt in the middle of my puja to Srila Prabhupada. And he continued to do it. He was suffering. I was looking at him. I was ready to do Prabhu, go, I continue. But he did, this is very, very, very advanced situations. And everything depends from what you want to do with your life. Because sometimes we do incredible austere things for some sense gratification, which is useless, which is damaging to our life. And then we should, because we are more interested in sense gratification, forgetting that what you get from those experiences comes and go. In a few years, we'll all be dead, and where we go after that depends on what we did in this life. So better than in this life, we do more Krishna conscious activities rather than not, because a sense of urgency in Krishna consciousness is good. Just like Prahlad Maharaj was saying, his friends were telling, Prahlad, please don't bother us. We are young, and let us play now, and we'll think to Krishna consciousness later. And Prahlad said, you don't know when you are going to die. The time to do Krishna conscious service to Vishnu, to Krishna, is now. That is not tomorrow, because you don't know if tomorrow will come. And so this is Prahlad Maharaj, and let's see each of us, we should analyze, we should look at what we do in our day and how many things we can avoid because they are meaningless. They will not give you anything good for your spiritual, for your future life, and how much we dedicate our time, mind, word, physical activities to Krishna consciousness, because at that you are getting karmic money or benefit for the future life. What you do materially, nothing. You don't get nothing, you don't get anything, and actually you go back. Krishna consciousness, yes, today I don't want to do this, or no, I don't like to do this, etc., etc. Yes, but if you do it, then you get a lot of positive reaction for your life. Okay, please continue.
Okay, the next question, maybe you've answered it already because they're all related. They're questions to the
Yeah.
same topic. Should one offer service while neglecting one's own personal needs? An example would be what to do about one's service during a long term chronic illness.
So if the illness is chronic, then it is a good moment to dedicate more time to Krishna consciousness and not to the illness. The illness is there. If it's chronic, nothing you can do. You can feel better, but you cannot cure it. Otherwise, it's a contradiction in terms. So when somebody gets a very bad illness, disease in our life, this is Krishna calling for us. He's telling us, this is the material body. This is your body. You cannot enjoy this body. This body is not meant for enjoyment. This body is meant for spiritual advancement. It's a car. The car, you can go to the temple, or in a car you can go to cinema. So the car is not good or bad. It depends what you do with that. Just like a knife. The knife is good or bad, but it depends what you do with the knife. If you can cut your finger, or you can cut the vegetable to offer to the deities. So the same way, our philosophy is that we should utilize more time as possible in Krishna consciousness, and that so how much time we should give to of course now tomorrow, after tomorrow, we'll answer about the question about what's the name of of killing somebody, euthanasia, is correct. And even more important is the care of the body, of our body. Should we take medicines? We should take what kind of medicine? If you are about to die, can you take some drug to feel less pain? I will. Well, I can say something about it. So first of all, we should remember our philosophy, because sometimes even devotees, even advanced devotees, they don't understand how they forget our philosophy. And they think that our philosophy is just a philosophy, something in the air, words, very nice words. I agree, but when it's time to apply it, no, I'm not ready. If we are about to die, it's because there is something called karma, and there is something called time. Okay? So if you go against your karma, that you are supposed to suffer, but you kill yourself and you think that you are escaping your karma. You are not, because you take another body. And since the karma doesn't die with your body, it's not that you shoot yourself, then your karma is destroyed. No, the karma never is destroyed. Doesn't die with the body. Then next life, you will pay it again. And maybe in some cases, you have to take birth just to pay that karma. So what kind of foolish remedy it was to let somebody kill you so you don't suffer anymore. So I understand that amongst our philosophy, this is the harder point to accept for everybody, because there is no one in the face of the earth to say that, yes, let him suffer, who cares, it's karma. Saying something is horrible. Even saying it, I just feel how horrible it is. But it is the truth. A truth sometimes is very, very difficult to accept. It's very difficult to yes, to not to say it, let's say, very difficult not to say that somebody, can you imagine going to somebody his daughter or son is dying and suffering, and say that you would say, hey, this is his karma. It's ridiculous. You cannot say that to anybody. It's sadistic. It's horrible. But material, that's why it's very difficult. I never speak about these things because I cannot say them. I feel myself bad. Even myself is bad. And I don't feel comfortable to say this to anybody. But sometimes you have to remember that we cause our present. If we suffer, it's not fault of God or anyone, it's our fault. And so what should we do? There is a medicine, and talking to a devotee a few months ago, he was saying, it was a private conversation. We have medicine, there is Ayurveda, which was propounded by an avatar of Vishnu. And so why we should reject it? Well, the word Ayur means life. Ayurveda is the science that teaches you how to live in the best way, to live the maximum that you can live. There is no medicine who can give you more time to live. If your body is destroyed, if your karma, if you are at the end of your life, Ayurveda does not mean that you live more. Ayurveda is you shouldn't live better. And maybe you had a few years more to live, but since you enjoyed all kinds of nonsense in this material life, then then now your life is cut, is shortened. It's shortened because you didn't live the way that Ayurveda told you to live. So, and so should we give some medicine to the people suffering? Yes, but at the same time, of course, I was in a very strong distress in Vrindavan. The worst days, materially, the worst days of my life, I spent it there. So much pain and then I took some medicine, of course, but I was chanting. We should tell people, I will give you medicine to feel less pain, but if you are not telling him, now you suffer less, you can chant. And not just give you medicine, now you are better and you can call your girlfriend or boyfriend or something. Then you are responsible. Are you ready to take the karma? Because if you give a medicine to a person and this medicine make this person feel better and you spend the time and the energy he has acquired for more sense gratification, you are responsible. Are you ready? Do you want to pay part of his karma? That's my point. I'm not against medicine, I'm not against this, but we should always put all this in conjunction with Krishna consciousness. Not just the medicine, not just the better, Krishna consciousness. I will cure you if you chant Hare Krishna. It's a joke, of course, no? We cannot say that, but something like that. Is that clear? Okay, let's go on.
Yes, Gurudev, I think you've pretty much covered that topic very well. And rather than continue with the last question there, I wanted to steer towards the conversation on Shraddha. What is it, and how important is it to our spiritual advancement?
I intervened while I think it was Marta Giravanga was giving a wonderful speech at the time, but I just heard this explanation of Shraddha, and I remembered that several years ago I had a very strong conversation, the debate, actually was not a conversation, it was a debate about Shraddha. So I just said, I want to say something while you were talking very nicely, all of you. So Sanskrit is not a language, it's a philosophical language, which means that the same word can mean, depending from the perspective, it can mean several things at the same time. Srila Prabhupada translated the word Shraddha often as faith, and some other time devotion. I will make you one example. I will translate this wonderful verse. What is it? Oh my God, I closed it. Srila Rupa Goswami, a verse who many of you probably knows. If you don't, I will tell you, spend one day trying to understand it all because it's very, very deep and very important. That you find in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 23, 14, 14 and 15. The very famous Sadau Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangota Vajana Kriya Tato Nartani Vritti Syat Tato Nishta Rochistataha. Atashaktistato bhavas tata prema bhudanchati sada kanam ayam prema pradubharta bhavet karamaha. So at the beginning, there is a Shraddha. Now I will translate it in the two different ways, just the beginning because it's quite long. In the beginning, you should have faith. And then, thanks to this faith, then you get sadhusanga, association with devotees. And thanks to the association of devotees, then you get the spiritual master, etc. This is one translation. Another tradition. At the beginning, at the beginning, you are detached, you are becoming detached from material life. And you want Krishna consciousness. Thanks to your desire that is in your heart, and Paramatma see the desire in your heart, then you get sadhusanga. So from sadhusanga, you get bhajana kriya. Bhajana kriya is the guru and initiation. So, what translation do you prefer? The first doesn't mean anything. Can you imagine a guy, enters into the temple and say, okay, let me know about Krishna consciousness. And somebody comes and say, Rupa Goswami said you should have faith. Faith? Faith in what? I just came. And even after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, faith in what? In who? We don't know who Krishna is. Even after many years, we still cannot have faith means accepting something blindly. Okay? But blindness does not help you in Krishna consciousness. The faith comes after knowledge. You study Krishna consciousness, you understand it partially, and then you continue thanks to the association of sadhus, thanks to the guru, and thanks to everything. Then your knowledge increases and then you can start accepting the Krishna lifted a heel. At the beginning, you cannot go to a guy and tell him, look, you should have faith that Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. But if you start explaining to him, look, this is the body. Before it was different. Thanks to Kala, eternal time is changing, but actually you are the spirit soul. You're not this body, you're the spirit soul. And then you continue preaching Krishna consciousness. Then, although he cannot understand everything, then he has some tendency, some desire to believe what it cannot, that it can, how you say that? It cannot be proven. I will make one example. Krishna lifted the Govardhan Hill. Do you believe it or not? Well, if we look into our heart, not many actually believes it. He thinks that it's some story from very beautiful Vedic Indian culture, because you cannot lift it with the small finger, not even the right one, and not even in the middle. It was very much towards the end of the. How can we believe it? Because we can believe it because we understood and realized a lot. And thanks to this realization, partial realization that we had in our spiritual life, then it's easier for us to believe. This is called reasonable faith. There is the unreasonable faith, which you don't believe, which you say that you believe, actually you are not, but you have no reason to believe it because you didn't have any spiritual realization, so this is unreasonable. It may be that you believe it, but it's not real. It's just a question of time, and you probably are going to fall down back to Maya, most probably. But it's not many years of realization. You have some experience. Then he said, okay, my spiritual master says, do this and you will get that, and you get it. Do that, and then your consciousness will begin. You do it and you get it. Then, because you got some result from your sadhana, then it's easier for you to have faith. That faith comes after knowledge and not before. It's not faith the reason of knowledge. It's knowledge the reason of faith. So that's why hear this, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adao translation in the beginning. Shraddha, fair faith, or disinterest in material affairs, interest in spiritual advancement. That's very nice. You cannot have faith, but it's very easy that you have some disinterest in material affairs. You get tired of material body and whatever you can do. And you become interested in Krishna consciousness. So this is the right understanding of the word Shraddha and faith and knowledge.
Gurudev, I think that covers the second question in the series. How do we reconcile the concept of the science of self-realization with the need to believe things that have not been proven scientifically? I think you just explained that. But the final question there is...
Well, okay,
Right.
but I had to finish this.
Okay.
Because so somebody asked, so why Srila Prabhupada? Sometimes we had to research a little who translated a word, okay? Because not all the books, word by word, there wasn't Srila Prabhupada translating, is a wonderful disciple Pradyumna translating, etc. And sometimes we had to be more intelligent and understand. For instance, there is one very important verse that says, where is it? Give me 1 second. I want to do this. So please, you particularly, no, it's here. It's here. In the Svetasvatara Upanishad 6:23, there is a wonderful verse that says, Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tata gurau tasarite katita yata prakashanti mahatmana. This is the translation of the verse. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So I want to challenge all of you to find in this verse where the word faith is found. Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tata guru tasaita katita yarta prakashanta. There is no faith. There is no faith. So, and there is not even any other thing. But if you put this verse in the context of other verses of the Svetasvatara Upanishad, it comes out that one does not have to have faith, but I had to have devotion to the Lord and the spiritual master. So look how it comes nicer, it sounds better, translating this verse in this way. Only unto those great souls who give devotional service to both the Lord and the spiritual master are all imports of waking knowledge automatically revealed. How it sounds, how it looks. Who have faith? Why a great soul had to have faith? It's a great soul. It's sure that Krishna exists. It's sure of the philosophy. Otherwise, it won't be Mahatma. It's saying here, Mahatmana. Okay? Mahatma means a very advanced devotee or sadhu, a sage. Why he doesn't need to have faith? He already knows. So here is saying that we should give service to Krishna and the spiritual master, and then we understand the philosophy. That's the right translation of the Svetashvatara Upanishad shloka.
Very good explanation, Guru Dev. Thank you so much. I just want to add the last question, because sometimes we lack a little faith or shraddha. And the question is, what about the thought that the lesson learned is more important than whether or not an event actually happened?
I don't understand, sorry. Can you say it again?
What about the thought that the lesson learned is more important than whether or not an event actually happened? In other words, should we be learning something from this, from Krishna holding the hill, and is that more important than whether or not he actually supported the hill, for as an example?
Well, the Leela, the Govardhan Leela of Krishna lifting the Govardhan Hill, of course, is full of philosophical meaning. But if we forget about all philosophy, we get purified only thinking to Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill, because it's a transcendental Leela. So even if we don't understand anything why Krishna did it and Indra did this, and you forget about everything, you just listen to the Leela. You can repeat this Leela the whole of your life, and will be the same that chanting the Mahamantra. But just an exaggeration, of course, just to understand what we are saying. That is absolute. You are thinking to a Leela of Krishna. Of course, if you want, I can start talking about philosophy regarding Govardhan Lila y todo and everything, and we will be here one day. There's so much to say, but let's say that of course, in all Prabhupada, on all Krishna's Leelas, there are philosophical meanings to understand, but Leela is meant to be meditated upon. When you go to bed, you think that's Krishna. Krishna is a small kid, and then he used only his, how you call it, the small, the pinky,
The pinky.
only the pinky. Why did he use the both arms? Because he wanted to deride Indra. You are putting the maximum of your power. Hey, look, this is not even the maximum of my response. That Krishna can lift the whole planet, the whole universe, with his pinky or with his hand. But he wanted to show Indra, you are nothing. Look at me. No, with this, with the left. Normally, the left arm are less strong than the right one. With a pink, And then somebody started to say, well, the water was coming inside. No, then Sankarshan came, became a huge snake, and then the water couldn't enter inside. You know all these things, what happened. And then Krishna was too short, and then Balarama, he put some rock so to be higher. Otherwise, the taller gopas couldn't enter inside, And then the gopi came, and Krishna looked at their breasts and began shaking because he liked what he was saying, seeing, etc. This is beautiful. This is transcendental. You go to bed, you think, and then you advance.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so Mataji Lavanga.
I was just wanting to express appreciation for how you explained that verse, faith and devotion. I had never heard that explanation before, but it makes a lot of sense now because devotion is more action based. So now I understand that verse in a whole new way that I did not before.
I'm not a Sanskritist, but I understand some. So I remember maybe 10 years ago, I had this debate with a godbrother of mine, very learned godbrother. It's very strange that an Italian devotee has to say no faith, and an American devotee who has by birth, no religious culture at all, and I was saying that, and then I went to see this verse that I read, and I went to translate word by word. There is no faith. There is nothing. I had to go to Svetasvatara Upanishad. I had Svetasvatara Upanishad here. I read 4 or 5 pages before, 4 or 5 pages after, so to see the context. Because sometimes the same Sanskrit word means something in one context and means something else in another context. So we have to put it. This is called Samanvaya. This is called Samanvaya. You find Samanvaya explain how to use in Sankhya and in Nyaya also. There is lessons about Samanvaya, in other words, how to put something in context. Because out of the context, it means something else, and you get confused. So this, I closed my adoption. No, this is not what I wanted. Anyway, the Sanskrit verse that I read you before, I translated it word by word, and there is no faith whatsoever. So I don't know who translated that. Let's say for one moment that this verse was actually translated by Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada is like Bhagavad Gita or Srila Bhagavad, there is no difference. What Prabhupada said is true. This is our sentiment. This is what we feel. Whatever Srila Prabhupada says must be true. At the same time, I want to understand the context, because otherwise it's contrary to what Srila Prabhupada would. Why Srila Prabhupada would write Bhagavad Gita if we just had to have faith? What's the use of all this knowledge? He wrote 70 books. Why writing 70 books? All we had to do is to have faith. Like Christians, they have faith. They don't need knowledge. They don't know anything. They have nothing. Of course, in the Christian tradition, there is a lot of philosophy. Some philosophy that I won't agree, and some philosophy that is very nice. Okay, but their philosophy is just to have to believe. Okay, but Srila Prabhupada And when I became a devotee, the first thing they let me do was to translate in Italian the Sri Upanishad. And since I was against this principle, this concept of faith, I was wondering why we need a book if we just have to have faith. And the devotees say, no, no, not faith, not faith. You have to understand. As Srila Prabhupada once in a conversation in a class with his disciples, the disciple said something, I don't remember what, but I remember very well Srila Prabhupada answer. Try to understand, try to understand, try to understand. 3 times. That's his answer. He didn't say, have faith, have faith, have faith. No, he said, try to understand, because Krishna is understandable. Of course, now we can understand much, but the little that we arrive to understand, that we have to understand it. And not, I don't need to read a book because I just need to have faith. Okay? So, thank you, Mataji Ravanga. Okay, if there is space for last question, and then we all go to our the rest of our day, our night. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you next month.
Thank
Hare
you, Guru
Krishna.
Dev.
Hare
Maranatha
Krishna.
Maharaj ki jai.
Maranatha Maharaj ki
Jai.
jai. Thank you, Guru.